The name of this show is The Power of Contract. You know, recently, I've taken on a few new clients, and it's always the newer clients where I kind of got to get back into my old way of thinking. Basically, I had to get back into you know relating this information, the importance of this information to people who have no idea. You kind of got to walk them along the path a little bit before they get their legs under them. And in these conversations I've been having lately, I thought it would be a great idea to do a show on this stuff because I think it's important to break down information, especially when you're trying to teach someone something, as basic and plain and simple as possible. So, in that spirit of plain and simple as possible, I want to do my best to break down the power of contract in this show as simple and elementary as possible. I'm not insulting your intelligence in any way. Absolutely not. I'm actually, challenging myself. And, I would like maybe this would be something that you play for, your child or, your teenager or something so that they can, kind of really get a grasp on what, the power is that lies within these contracts. So what I want to say is, the most powerful thing in the world, most powerful structure in the world is a contract structure. I just want to say that. This is where we're going to start, but we're going to back up and we're going to say you need to come out of the rabbit hole. This is necessary because this kind of sets the stage. You need to come out the rabbit hole. And what do you mean by that, So? What do you mean by that? Okay. I'm going to take it to the Bible. I'm sorry. It's not a lot. And it's not, anything but to point out that it is explained in this book in the first chapter and in the second chapter what all this is. This life that we know when we get up and go to work or go to school or whatever. Like what's going on? Because we're confused. So listen, Genesis chapter 1. What is this? Chapter 1, verse 27. So God created man in his own image. Pay attention to the word created. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. So it's like, first of all, God created man in his own image. Male and female created he them. So man is man and woman. Man. There's two sides to man and woman. There's two sides to a coin. It's natural law, right? That's man, created. Remember that word created, right? We got chapter 2, Genesis chapter 2. Pretty sure it's chapter 2. Where we at? So we got, man, I lost. Oh, here it is. And the Lord God formed Adam from the dust of the earth. The Lord God formed Adam from the dust of the earth. You catch that? So you have created and you have formed. You have man that was created, man and woman, at the same time. Then you have Adam that was formed from the dust of the earth. So what that does, at least what it does for me, is right there in the first and second chapter, it lets me know what's going on. You got created man, man and woman. You have formed man. It's Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living soul. So you got created man, and you have formed man. You have God. It says, so God created man in his own image. Genesis 1. And then Genesis 2, you have Lord God. Okay? But what am I saying this for? Come out the rabbit hole. Okay, so what's the rabbit hole? You have formed, you have created. In trust law, you have form over substance. But I won't touch on that yet. What I will say is this. You have formed and created. Anything that's formed is under man's law. Anything that's created is under God's law. I'm put it like this. So you own a property, right? You know, you go buy property. People are like, yeah, and we get real estate. Okay, it's legal term, commercial term. Bottom line is you're buying land and you're buying a house on it. And we're like, what's a house? Well, commercially, it's an improvement. The improvement, the man-made structure on top of the God-created earth. It's commerce. It's an improvement. It's formed. It's under man's law. Lord God rocks that. Anything formed, if you can't dig it up out the ground, if you can't dig a Benz up out the ground, dust it off, spray with some water, jump in it, and drive to work. You understand what I'm saying? You have to come out the rabbit hole, which means you have to acknowledge all the fake things every day. Your sidewalk is fake. Your house is fake. Well, it's formed. I'll say formed. I say fake because it's not naturally occurring. But we can say formed. You got to acknowledge all the formed things, all the Lord God things. Your sidewalk, your stairs, the street, even like your landscaping. Yeah, that's natural. It's natural grass and trees, but it was land. It wasn't put there naturally. It was formed. It was formed in that area. Their clothes were formed from, fabrics, maybe natural and unnatural. The vehicle was formed. That stoplight that you sit at when there's no cross traffic at all, and you're sitting there wasting your life, that's formed. You kind of get where I'm getting at? Police officer, not real, not created by the creator. Judge, lawyer, TV, dinner, all these, it's fake. It's fake. And what does this have to do with the power contract? Well, you have to understand what is real and what is fake before you can understand the power of a contract. And I'm talking private contract. I'm not talking about any, contract that is subject to legislative authority by the several legislatures, which means any of the states. That's not what I'm talking about. You have to understand the real and the fake. And you have to understand so the state of is fake. The United States is fake. It's all fake. You think that was natural? You think naturally we just dug up a constitution? We were searching an old ancient site and was like, oh man, here's a constitution. Let's sign it and create a government. Nah, man. It was formed. Constitution was formed. The device that you're using to check out this show is formed, which means it's under the formed law. It's under Lord God's law. So once again, you got to take a full stop. There's created, and then there's formed. Substance over form. You got natural law. Natural law is a law that's, it happens. You can get mad. You can kick something. You can jump off. It doesn't matter. Natural law will continue. You can sit there and you'll watch the sun rise and set over and over and over again. This is natural law. This is the law that was put into existence by the Creator. This is the law that we are under. Living, breathing. Can you breathe in? Can you breathe out? You're living. That's it. Then you have man's law, which reduces itself to contract law, and then reduces itself even further to commercial law. And that's what we're talking about. The state, all of these form things, commerce is regulated by commerce. Lord God. Who's Lord God? Government. No? You want to argue? That's fine. That's fine. Lord God. Government Ordinance Department. You can't serve two masters. But what's that have to do with the power of a contract? Mr. Sot, you say these things, and you have all these things you say, and it sounds magnanimous and all these different things, but you're talking about the power of a contract. Okay, let's get into it. 1% information. You don't know what you don't know. Just because you don't know something exists doesn't mean it does not. And just because the professionals and the people that you respect in your life and you think they're super smart, just because they don't know something exists doesn't mean it does not. I would like to share with you the Supreme Court case of Caldwell versus Hill, Caldwell versus Hill, Hill. This is 178-SE-383. That's 178-SE-383. It was from 1934. Check it out. This is not to be confused. Like, I don't really deal with theory. Y'all know me. Like, I deal with facts. I ain't got time for this. If I don't know, I'll tell you. I don't know, man. Better holler at somebody. Caldwell versus Hill, the Supreme Court stated that the United States adopted the common laws of England with the Constitution. The United States adopted the common laws of England with the Constitution. Why does that matter? Well, under the common laws of England, which the United States adopted, which the United States just simply calls common law, they took the England out of there, of course. Why not? Under the common law, the people have the right to contract unlimited. Okay. People have the right to contract unlimited according to common law. This is common law principles. You can't, Okay? But remember, we're coming out the rabbit hole. So if the United States adopted the common law with England, the common laws of England with the United States Constitution, and a specific common law right is to contract unlimited. Well, that sounds pretty powerful. And then when you get into Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution, which states in part, no state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. So if no states can't pass any law impairing the obligation of contract, why does that matter? Why are you talking about the power of contracts, Mr. L, Mr. Sot, Mr. Sir? What does that have to do with it? Well, there's a such thing as a trust. A trust is a contract between three parties. A trust is a contract. United States Supreme Court in United States USDC MAS 1941, Supreme Court stated a trust is a separate and distinct entity from its beneficiaries for income tax purposes. What? What? Also, United States Supreme Court in Crocker versus McCloy said a trust organization consisting of the United States constitutional right of contract cannot be abridged. The agreement, when executed, becomes a constitutionally protected organization and not under the laws passed by any of the several legislatures. So when you comprehend, okay, so what are the several legislatures? The states, all 50 of them, including Washington D.C., because D.C. is not a state, it's a territory. It's a federal territory. So if you comprehend that, then you comprehend that, oh, okay, so these are private structures. They're contracts, not under the laws of the states. So what governs the trust? The actual contract itself. United States Supreme Court states, specifically in Edwards versus the Commissioner, and I mean, I first saw this, I had to read it like 3 times. I was like, what? I had to laugh. But in Edwards versus the Commissioner, the court said that dignity of a contract cannot be set aside because a tax benefit results either by design or accident. You see, this is a game, y'all. It's a game that's played on the public. It's a game that's played on you. This is 1% information. And back to what I said, just because you don't know something that exists doesn't mean it does not. I like doing in-person events because, a lot of times potential clients, they send their CPAs and their tax attorneys to the event. I love it. I like talking to CPAs and tax attorneys because they think they know everything. Especially if you walk, what are your credentials? Public credentials? I don't care what or how many letters are behind your name. That's controlled knowledge. That's what they want you to know. I'm not even tripping. I don't care. Like, no, I have nothing. No credentials, whatever. But I will tell you that this is true. You have your peoples. That's why you're attorney. They only understand state statutory law. I just read case law that said that these contracts, these trusts are not under legislative authority. So if you have a state attorney who's educated in state statutory law, I don't care if it's statutory trust law. I don't care if it's statutory contract law. I don't care if it's statutory commercial law. I don't care if it's statutory business law. It doesn't matter. So your state attorney is going to say that don't exist. Ain't no such thing as a trust like that. They haven't been taught this. Your CPA hasn't been taught this. Your friend hasn't been taught this. This stuff has got to be put together. This is elite information. It remains within an elite group of people, and it stays there. And I've been doing this for over 17 years because I want you to know. I want you to comprehend what's going on. I want you to comprehend every time you go in the pub, you go to the bank, all these people went to state school, the state public schools, state universities. And listen, I'm gonna say unequivocally, I went to school for international business, sales and marketing. I double majored. You feel what I'm saying? Listen, unless you go to an attorney that is familiar with internationally recognized structures, they don't know what you're talking about. Unless they've dealt with an entity that it has the ability to do business internationally, they don't know what you're talking about. They're going to say that don't exist. What you talking about? Nah. It's governed by the state statutes because all they know is state statutory law. You have to find someone who studied contract law in law school and constitutional law. Otherwise, all these attorneys, they're going to laugh at you. The CPAs might even say, nah, go find another one, man. Do you understand the power of contracts? As I said, unequivocally, it is an internationally recognized structure. Case in point, am I speaking currently in theories? No, I'm not. You can pull this up. The Hague Convention on the law applicable to trusts. Just type it in the search bar. Hague Convention on Trust. But it's really the Hague Convention on the law applicable to trusts and on their recognition. Man, read this thing. A trust, look, Article 6, applicable law. A trust shall be governed by the law chosen by the settlor. The choice must be expressed or implied in the terms of the instrument creating or the writing evidencing the trust, interpreted if necessary in light of the circumstances of the case. Where the law chosen under the previous paragraph does not provide for trusts or the category of trust involved, the choice shall be effective and the law specified in Article 7 shall apply. Check out Article 7. Article 7, where no applicable law has been chosen by the settlor, a trust shall be governed by the law with which it is most closely connected. They're trying to get this house jurisdiction over the trust. It says right here in this and this was signed. It's over 120 countries. United States is one of them. Canada is one of them. London is one of them. Cayman Islands is one of them. I'm telling you, do your research, man. Just read it. International recognition, the Hague Convention, and they're saying, yo, the settlor can choose a law. If the settlor or the grantor doesn't choose a specific law, then here's how you determine the law. Article 8, the law specified in Article 6 or Article 7 shall govern the validity of the trust, its construction, its effects, and the administration of the trust. So unless you put the jurisdiction in the trust indenture, it's going to go to statutory law. I mean, I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So, the United States adopted the common law of England with the United States Constitution. All right, you have that. Simple, right? That was Caldwell versus Hill. U.S. adopted common laws of England with the Constitution. So you have that. And you have Article 1, Section 10 that states in part, no state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. This is how you get away from the states. You know, these types of trusts do not file state tax returns. They're not governed. There's no reason to. It doesn't happen like that. It's governed by the trust indenture. If the trust indenture says it, that's what it is. Most people do not comprehend that sentence. It is not, the trust is not governed by state statutes or any law for that matter. A properly crafted trust is governed by the contract itself. And no state can pass any law impairing the obligations of that contract. Edwards versus the commissioner said dignity of a contract cannot be set aside because a tax benefit results either by design or accident, man. These structures are federally protected entities or organizations, and they're not under the laws of the several legislatures. If the contract says it's an expense, it's an expense. You don't understand the power of a contract. Or maybe you do. Maybe you really do. Maybe you're pulling yourself up the rabbit hole. You're recognizing created versus formed. And it might be really messing you up. Like, man, my head is getting crazy. The bottom line is, if we're created in the image of God, and God is our creator is a creator, we're creators. So we're all Lord gods, right? I don't know. I'm not trying to be blasphemous or not, but you lord over your life, maybe your family, your home. Anything you create, you're going to lord over, right? Just like the state. The state created the individual. You think the state ain't lording over the individual, you're tripping. The state created the corporation. If you think the state isn't lording over the corporation, you're out of your mind. You're bugging. You're bugging, son. You're bugging out. All these state creations. You get it? All these state agencies, these federal agencies, so on and so forth. It doesn't matter. What's the point? The point is the states and the federal government, IRS, the state internal revenue and the federal internal revenue are looking to tax income, activities with Federal Reserve notes. They have certain laws and rules and regulations with regards to the entities and structures they govern. Well, off top, these structures, this contract, is not governed by state legislation. Do you understand how powerful that is? I'm going to come out straight on the air and say, the contract governs the structure. Look, you can jump on the internet and you can Google and you can see, what's offered to entrepreneurs. You know, types of business structures, right? Just look at them. Types of business structures. It ain't gonna say LLC, partnership, limited partnership, limited liability company. You're not going to see contract trust. That's not governed by state statute. That's not governed by Internal Revenue Code. You're not going to see that. It's the Internal Revenue Service. It's a collection agency. If you think the IRS is going to come out publicly and say this is how you legally avoid taxes, you're out of your mind. This is how you legally protect your property from predatory states, alleged creditors, debt collectors, and litigators. No. This is how you protect your family's wealth indefinitely. No. If you think you're going to learn this stuff in the public, going to public school, come on. You have to understand there is the created world and there is the formed world, and they do not mix. Public and private does not mix. The created world is private. The formed world is public. Do you hear what I'm saying? Make a distinction. Come out the rabbit hole. Recognize the power of contract. I don't care. Understand that if you're a trustee of a private trust organization with regards to your private estate, if you're at the executive level, you walk into any company, corporation, so on and so forth, the first person you speak to is not going to be an executive. They're probably not going to be an administrator, and I doubt they're going to be a supervisor. You're going to listen to them telling you that you can and can't do nothing, that don't exist, you can't do this, we don't open these types of accounts. That's like That's like Elon Musk asking the doorman at the hotel for stock advice, man. Get out, get in your lane. Of course, you're not walking in there advertising, yeah, I'm a private trust executive, and I need to speak to your, an executive or at least some sort of administrator so we can speak on the same level. I had trustees that say, oh, they said they're going to send it to legal. I'm nervous. Why are you nervous? Because they said they're sending it to the legal department, the lawyers. So, that means two things. Either one, they have no idea what's going on and they're scared and they're deferring to legal. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to lose my job. Send it to the attorneys. Or number two, they're over their head. It's over their head. They don't know what's going on. They got to send it to the legal department. You notice how they didn't say, no, we're not opening this account. They said, we sent this to legal. Legal, we'll wait till legal gets back to us. Yep, there you go. And that's the level you should understand. People get scared of legal. They're scared of judges. Scared. Look, man, as a trustee, you are an executive, CEO. CEO, CEE, CFO, the executive level administration. That's what trustees are. I don't argue with bus drivers. I don't ride the bus. You understand what I'm saying? We need to know what this is. We need to understand the power of contract. We need to deal with the fear. Quit being fearful. Just because we haven't seen someone do this stuff, we feel uncomfortable trying. Man, come on, let's stop that. You get one life. You won't look. Trying to have no regrets. But there you go, man. It's the power of a contract. Understand that. We're dealing with contract law. We're dealing with private law. We're dealing with a jurisdiction of law that is superior to commercial law. That's why it always supersedes. That's why the Hague Convention, statutes, you will see Supreme Court case law. If it's properly crafted trust indenture with the proper jurisdiction invoked, with proper administration through non-commingling and self-dealing activities, this is what you're dealing with. And the people around you, the people who've been educated in state institutions, state public schools, state bar associations, unless they are familiar with structures that can do business internationally, I don't care what they're talking about. Public school system was heavily endowed by Rockefeller, who's an industrialist. The Progressive Education Association, PEA, the Progressive Education Association, PEA, the Progressive Education Association. John Dewey, who was a professor at Columbia Teachers College, they made it no secret that they were going to use the public educational system to accomplish social goals, and they said that the bulk of the population is biologically childlike, requiring lifelong care. These are people that were the General Board of Education was set up in the early 1900s. In the 1960s, it became the Board of Education, heavily endowed by Rockefellers, industrialists, people who created industries who didn't have enough family members to work those industries. Didn't have enough family members who wanted to because, you know, it's dirty and stuff, man. They classy. So they needed you and your family to work in their industries. And how do they get you ready? These public school systems. Controlled knowledge, man. I don't care how many letters you got behind your name. That's controlled knowledge. I'll say it over and over again. I don't care. People look at me with disdain, with irritation, because I just disrespected all the hard work you did for all those years. I don't care. Start a business. I respect it. But when people start coming to me and telling me that, you can't do this and there's no such thing as walking in with a contract and opening a bank account, first of all, you're tripping. Second of all, you don't know what you're talking about. Third of all, I've done it. And just because you don't know something exists doesn't mean it does not. I'm going to take a phone call or two. 336-6379. Area code 336-6379. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace. This is Markel.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's going on?
What's going on? Not much, man.
I was just enjoying the show.
Yeah, I just saw it looked like a hand went up. You must have accidentally pushed one or something.
Oh, I don't know.
It's cool. My fault. I was gonna take one call. That was you. Before I wrap the show up. What you think about the show? You catch it all?
It was dope.
Show?
Yeah. Well, I missed the first part. I caught the last end of it, the main current event. But I heard the whole the power of a contract.
Yeah.
I definitely understand it.
That's good. That's good to hear, man. Appreciate it. Well, I ain't gonna keep you, man. Thanks for checking out the show. I know you pushed one on accident, man, but thanks for speaking up, man. Thanks for checking out the show.
Yep.
You have a great evening.
You too, brother. Peace.
Peace. We about to start streaming. I got this automated robot in my ear with an English accent telling me we got 30 seconds left before we start streaming. And they changed the number since the last time I did the show. They changed the last two digits. Change. Look, before we get up out of here, I want to say this. Look, we're doing an event in May. I'm excited. Check it out. I'm going to be doing shows, man. So next week, check out the show. We will put out more information with regards to the event in May. It will be in Atlanta. It's like my second home. I love it in Atlanta. You know what I mean? So it will be in Atlanta. And it's going to be live, man. So make sure you sign up for the email list. Stay tuned to the foundation here on High Frequency Radio Network. Don't know who's going to be there. I feel like I'm going to be like, yo, Yusuf, we're doing an event, and he's just going to, you know what I'm saying? That's what I feel. And that's kind of like what I'm hoping, too, I love Yusuf, man, like a brother. So, I mean, he can, look, he got free reign over here. So, I feel like I'm going to tell him, like, yo, we're doing this dance and, whatever. But we got some other special guests that we will be announcing. We got the Normalize campaign, Normalize Greatness, Normalize Trust Estates, Normalize Trust Fund Babies. It's a limited edition run of merchandise, T-shirts, black and white, and each normalized slogan, Normalize Greatness, Normalize Trust Estates, Normalize Trust Fund Babies. We're giving them away, and we're going to give 3 away, and we're going to give, along with those 3, you get a T-shirt, you get free admission to the event in May in Atlanta. All you have to do is sign up for the email list at welcometothefoundation.com. Subscribe, however you got to do it, to the YouTube, to the Instagram, to the Twitter. You got to leave a comment on all the platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And you got to, you just have to substantiate that. Y'all listeners of the foundation. So I'm confident you know how to substantiate. It's going to be live. I'm excited, yo. I haven't done an in-person event in a minute. So it's gonna be hype. I'm doing pull-ups. No, I'm just playing. I'm getting ready. Got my baby oil. No, I'm just playing. But yo, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all again. Looking forward to getting back out here. You know. So that's May. Stay tuned for the date. And as I said, man, Foundation ain't going nowhere. You know, energy never dies, it just transforms. So as we transform the Foundation, y'all stick around and enjoy the show. It's going to be luxurious. I'm back. I'm re-energized. I don't know if you can hear it, but, you know, Sot's back, y'all. Like the OG Sot, the original Sot, the pancake and toast Sot L. I'm back, y'all. I'm feeling good, too. So, look, 2023, you know, for the public, it's going to be... it's gonna be a little crazy, but in the private, we're gonna be hot like fire. It's gonna be luxurious, as you know. So, with that being said, it's good to be back, y'all. Y'all have a great week. Make sure you enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. As always, take care of your peoples too. Stay tuned for trustee training. Email me, admin@welcometothefoundation.com. You know, we're going to keep it moving. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night, because it's so important. And I'll catch you next week, the same spot. And it will be next week, the hottest radio network on the planet, High Frequency Radio Network. I'm your host, Sot L. And, you know, in luxurianism, I leave you. Luxuriousness. And I'll catch y'all next week. Peace to the gods, y'all.
Doing this thing all the way live. High Frequency Radio.